Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope everybody is having a fantastic week so far. Nice to see many members in the class. Hi Fuang, hi Domenico, Yanni, Dewey. Nice to see all of you. And Domenico, I see you just upgraded to the premium package. That is awesome. You've got a lot of goodies coming your way. Fantastic. Send me an email and I'll hook you up with all of those perks. Good to see our students joining in as well. Hi Malra, Akira. Nice to see you all here for today's class, which is IELTS Speaking Part 1, the focus, languages. Which should be a familiar topic for everybody since I'm certain all of you are language learners, which is fantastic. This lesson and the materials are brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, check us out there. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. We are going to use these websites today to talk with our viewers and actually practice English. You will be able to hear each other, and we are going to give band score estimates, corrections, and strategies. And to make all of this even more awesome, we have started our Black Friday discount. Black Friday becoming a global phenomenon of great savings. Of course, tomorrow is Friday. For many of you, you're already quite close. And we have this Black Friday discount code that you can use on our websites. It's BKFD. You get a 30% Black Friday discount. That's our best discount of the year. It only lasts for 3 days. And we're making this one extra special. Anybody who uses this code on the website will also get a 15-minute speaking interview with me. So definitely a good time to join our premium IELTS package on the website. Our websites look like this. This is our academic website here. To join our premium package, simply click this big red button, and when you do that, make sure to use the code BKFD. So BKFD, of course, that's an abbreviation for Black Friday discount. So you hit continue and our system will register your code and you will get 30% off. It's a one-time payment. You get lifetime access, and with this code you get the 30% and the 15 minutes. So that is fantastic. For general IELTS, it's the green background at gieltshelp.com. Click that big red button. Again, same idea. Use the code BKFD. We're an IDP affiliate, British Council partner, IELTS Test Registration Center, and we help thousands of students every day in their IELTS goals. So I'm a certified British Council agent. So you are in the right place with the right discount today for sure. All right. Domenico, I'm sorry to hear that you're coming down with a cold. I've been battling this flu myself, so that seems to be part of our existence these days. So we have to push forward, and hats off that you're doing that. All right, everyone. So again, check out the websites. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to purchase the course. We have apps, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help, so you can get the apps as well, but the code works only on the websites, okay? Yeah, Instagram, you can follow us there. Check out our videos and vocabulary and schedules. IELTS_AHelp, GIELTS Help. If you have questions, just ask me. Send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, and admin@aehelp.com will get us your questions. Now, students, we've got lots and lots of classes coming up, so pay attention. Daylight savings for those of you who watch regularly, so classes are 1 hour later than they were in October and in the summer. Olivia, no, when you're doing the test with me, it's just for practice. The only way, Olivia, that you can get an official mark is if you go to an IELTS testing center. It has to be done through IELTS testing, but you can register in many countries for the IELTS exam through the website for the home test. Okay, good question. I am paying attention to the chat, students, so if you have questions, you can always post them there as well, and if I miss it, then send me an email. Tomorrow, we're going to have Task 2 writing for members, and we'll have reading for subscribers, so definitely subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button so you get notifications of our live classes. Then we'll have more speaking on Saturday, and we'll do speaking part 2 and 3. And then we'll have a Discord class on the 27th with our partners, IELTS Prep. And that's an amazing community of IELTS students. It's totally free. It's built by IELTS students. And it's a great place to get tips. We're their official partners. You can use this link. Of course, you're going to need Discord, the app, which many of you, especially if you like online gaming, probably have already. Okay. Joao, I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling queasy and feverish. Yeah, I know the feeling. I'm feeling that way too. But like many of you, I'm pushing forward. Unfortunately, it's too common. You can't just give up when you're feeling under the weather these days. Otherwise, your productivity stops, and that's not good. All right, we're always releasing new videos on the YouTube channel. Very good for practice and learning. Check this one out. This is a really cool practice video for your speaking. I just put the link in the chat. And now we'll get into IELTS speaking ourselves. So, IELTS speaking. There are basically 3 different versions of the speaking exam. Okay, it's important, and some of you know this already, but people who are new to the IELTS might not know this. 3 versions. Okay, the traditional, the original one, is the face-to-face interview in an exam room. Okay, that's one. Another one is computer-based, okay, based interview at the exam center, okay. And the newest one that came onto the market just recently is computer-based interview at home. It's not yet available in every country. It's available in, I think, about 10 countries, like Australia, for example, has it. But they're adding new countries all the time. So if you want to do that one, check it out. All right. Yeah, there's basically an option now where you can do the full exam from home. Each of these have their advantages, okay? Doing the IELTS at home from the comfort of your own home has benefits and disadvantages as well. It's possible that people are more confident when they're doing their interview from their home, but there are also some negatives, such as maybe problems with hardware, right? So it's your responsibility to have a good internet connection. I definitely would not recommend doing a home-based version from your mobile phone, for example. That would be a bad idea. So each has an advantage, disadvantage. Which one do you think is my favorite? Like if you ask me like, well, which one's your favorite, Adrian? Which one do you think I should choose? What do you think? Muhammad says, I'm doing the second version, December 4th. Domenico says, I will fly to the UK for the IELTS exam. Dewey says, you do the face-to-face. You guys know me and you girls know me all too well. Yeah, absolutely. My preference, absolutely face-to-face. especially if you're not the shy type, okay? Face-to-face is definitely my preferred mode. We have a lot of hidden communication in our speech, body language, and facial language. So definitely my preference is the face-to-face. If you ask me why, because it is more personal. There are more ways to communicate through facial expressions and body language, and your voice is not filtered by technology. Okay, so you have to keep in mind that the computer is a type of filter. So for those of you doing the computer-based exam, okay, and this is your first big tip of the day, so I might as well label this tip 1. When you are speaking through technology, that could be a phone, the computer. So computer-based speaking filters your voice by about, if you want me to quantify it, I would say about 10%. So you should speak a bit louder and with more intonation. Okay. So as you can maybe imagine, I'm actually speaking to you louder than usual during these live classes. And I'm giving you a bit more of my emotions. So, and you often see me use my upper body. So when I do my body language, I'm like really close to my face. I'm like, so this, so that, so this, right? We don't actually do that in real life. We don't actually move our hands like this, right? So that's something that people learn when they work with computers and cameras to adjust for that restriction, right? Because you don't see my lower body, obviously. I'd be a very small little human, right? So keep that in mind, okay? And actually practice it. Like if you know that you're going to do the computer-based exam, then practice your speaking via camera, computer-based, with your tutors, with your friends, and start, using your hands closer to your head, closer to your face. Does that make sense? It feels kind of weird at first, but then you get used to it, right? So, all right, Alfred says, cheers, that makes sense, right? So definitely practice computer-based speaking if you are doing this version of the test. All right, very important. And hey, one way to do it is to use that Black Friday discount that I gave you. You get a 15-minute interview with me with that. It's a perfect chance to figure that out. Okay, so that's a little bit about the format of the speaking, and it's an important one to keep in mind, all right? So the questions, they're the same. So whether you're doing the computer-based or whether you're doing the face-to-face, questions are the same. It's just the format that's different, okay? Nurella says practice makes perfect. Yeah, Nurella, not just that. So practice does make perfect, but it's especially true when it's a different method that people aren't used to. Like, a lot of us, fortunately these days, we're doing a lot of Zoom lessons and Zoom meetings and so on. But still, you want to definitely practice for the IELTS interview itself, okay? All right, so let's get into it. So this is IELTS speaking. Tip number 2, and you hear me say this all the time, and it is the most important tip that I keep repeating for you, is always think about an answer, and an explanation. Okay, and an example, a smooth example. for the questions. We're going to practice this so you will understand this clearer in just a moment. But let's get into it. So let's warm you up. Now, always full sentences, okay? IELTS is not a chit chat. You're not just casually meeting with a tutor. You're not bumping into a friend on the street. This is not an ESL lesson. It's not the examiner's job to help you speak or help you create sentences. It is absolutely your job to show your best English, speak fluently and with confidence, okay? So when you go to the exam center, the examiner will say, welcome to the speaking section of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. We are conducting this exam in Vancouver at Exam Center YQ79. This is examiner 73442 and candidate number 954-32218. Now we shall begin. May I see your identification? Give me a nice full sentence for this. The examiner is there to do a job. You're more or less just a number to them. They're assessing your English. Don't take it personally. If they're making faces, if they're looking a little bit strange, they might be thinking about that horrible cup of coffee or that great cup of coffee that they had in the morning. It's not about you, okay? So they're supposed to be neutral, by the way, but they're human. So may I see your identification? Akira says yes. Gladly, here's my ID which I use for registration. Please have a look at my credentials. Very nice, Akira. Now, when you're giving a nice full sentence like this, you have to be fluent, okay? If you say a sentence like this slowly, examiners will interrupt you. So if you say, yes, gladly, here is my ID, which, then they'll be just like, what is your full name? So they're not going to, they don't patiently wait for a full sentence answer. So make sure that you're nice and fluent, okay? And this is speaking, students. So speak and repeat. I speak with a North American West Coast accent that people use in places like Victoria, Vancouver, Seattle, San Francisco, all the way to San Diego. San Diego starts to get a little bit different, I think, but LA, Los Angeles for sure. So West Coast North Americans, we kind of all have this similar style of English. It's crisp, it's clear, it's the one you hear in Hollywood movies. It's a good one to practice. So make sure to speak and repeat what I say, how I say it, okay? And Akira's answer is perfect for this. So repeat the question too. May I see your identification? Yes, gladly. Here is my ID, which I use for registration. Please have a look at my credentials. Okay, good. Waruni says, here's my passport. I had used to register. Please look at my credentials. Yeah, make sure you have the past participle, Waruni, for used, because you're using the past perfect. I had used, okay, to register. Students, don't make mistakes in these first few answers. That sounds really bad. And students think, oh, I'm not being judged anyway. Of course you are. If you're making awkward grammatical mistakes and pronunciation, fluency mistakes, yeah, they're already thinking about your score. They might not mark it down, but they're definitely thinking about it, okay? Raquia is shouting. Raquia shouts, yes, happily. Here it is, which I have used to register a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, use the word passport, Raquia, and don't shout when you're writing, okay? If you're writing all capitals, it means you're shouting at me. All right, and then the next question is, what is your full name? So give me a nice full sentence for this one as well. Don't just say something like John Smith. Okay, it's kind of awkward. We usually don't answer like that when we meet someone. So let's take Muhammad Abadav. Has a good answer for us. Let's take a look at that. Okay. Here it is. And let me just scale that up a bit so you can see it clearer. Okay. So Muhammad says, my given name is Muhammad and my surname is Abadav. Please just call me Muhammad. All right, Muhammad. That's perfect. Again, say it fluently, right, students? So introduce yourself, say your full name, be fluent. These answers that you're seeing here for may I see your identification and what is your full name? It's professional English, okay? It's respectful, professional English. It's okay to use everyday English a bit during your speaking. However, you definitely want to show the examiner that you can use professional English for those band 7, 8, 9 scores. And certainly a good place to start is with the introduction. Here you are speaking with an examiner. You're in a test situation. This person is a professional. Clearly, it makes sense to speak with the person in a professional tone, especially during introductions. So I wouldn't say something like, yeah, hey, what's up? Sure, here's my ID. Check it out. I mean, you'll get a smile even from me if you respond in this way, but I will definitely be like, does this person know where they are, what they're doing? So yeah, if you came at me with, I said, may I see your identification? And you said, yeah, hey, what's up? Sure, here's my ID, check it out. I'd be like, okay, natural, sure. Good use of vocabulary. It's advanced to be able to speak like that, but is it appropriate for the context? Not so much, right? So you have to be careful, okay? All right, speak professionally, especially during the introduction. Okay, let's keep going a little bit here. So now the examiner will say something like, okay, for part 1, I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. And of course, they're professional. They don't greet you by saying, hey, what's up? Plop yourself down in the chair over there and let's get to her. They won't speak like that to you, okay? Even though obviously many of them like me could. So you have to match the English in the context, all right? Okay, Sal, it does not depend on each examiner. I guarantee you that no examiner will appreciate somebody speaking that level of slang and colloquial English. So no, Sal, it does not depend. It's a professional situation. The examiner is professional. They expect a certain level of professional language for band 8, band 9 scores, okay? You might be able to get a band 7 and you'll get a good laugh out of them, but why do that? Why not get the highest score possible? Okay, so where do you live? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Again, full sentences, students. So where do you live? Here's a good tip. Okay, when you're answering, think big to small or small to big. What I mean by that is country, state, city, home, or vice versa. Or home, state, if you have a state. Or sorry, city, state, country. Okay. So Domenico, you might say something like, I live in Italy, more specifically the beautiful region of Sicily, and I'm residing in a 3-bedroom house. Okay, so something like that. All right. Yusuf. Yeah, it could be. It could be easier. Just make sure to really speak loudly. Yusuf is asking if it's easier to do the video style exam. Again, Yusuf, like I said at the start, I prefer face-to-face, but the video could be easier in the sense that you might be more confident. Just make sure to speak nice and loud. Okay, Yuya, you're here in the same country as me, but just on the other side. Let's take a look at Yuya's answer. Okay, Yuya, here we go. So Yuya says, I live in the heart of Toronto. I've been living in a 33-story condo for almost a year with my girlfriend. It is so convenient to live in such a big city. Okay, so you have to be a little bit careful, Yuya. All right. I think this is okay. I think this answer would pass, but it's important not to include information that the examiner is not really asking about. It's kind of going into another topic or another question. So you live in the heart of Toronto. Toronto's a big city, right? It's over 4 million people. So even saying I live in the heart of Toronto is not actually that specific, because the heart of Toronto is quite big. So you might say something like, I live in the heart of Toronto, a few blocks from the CN Tower. I've been living, now you're in a 33-story condo, but that's not really specific. So I've been living on the 20th floor of a 33-story condo in a 2-bedroom unit. For almost a year with my girlfriend. And then I would take out the it is so convenient. Two reasons for that. That's very obvious. So most people know that it's convenient to live in a big city because you have so many services and shops nearby. So unnecessary. Instead of that, focus on giving more detail to where you actually live. Always look at and think about the question and then think about details. So this would be like your band 9 answer, and the previous one is closer to a band 7, 8, depending, okay? So for high band scores, students, to get those really high band scores like band 8, band 9, content becomes very important, okay? So Yuya, here's an upgraded version of your answer. I live in the heart of Toronto, a few blocks from the CN Tower. I've been living on the 20th floor of a 33-story condo in a 2-bedroom unit for almost a year with my girlfriend. That is a band 9 answer, okay? That shows that you have excellent command of both English language and communication, all right? Okay, so good. That was a good answer there, all right? Fuang, let's see what you have. Fuang is one of our very studious members. Hats off, Fuang. Good for you. All right, so Fuang says, currently I'm sharing a 2-bedroom apartment on the 5th floor with my friend located in the heart of Ho Chi Minh City, one of the biggest cities in the south of Vietnam. Nice. Yeah. Phuong, with good pronunciation and with nice fluency, that's a band 9 answer, okay? That's that kind of detail that gives me clarity of where you live and a little bit of an idea of even your living conditions. So sharing a 2-bedroom apartment. So that's very good. All right, let's keep going. And students, practice, pay attention, because very soon I will be asking for volunteers through our website to actually practice this speaking. Okay, next question. What do you like about your hometown? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. So what do you like about your hometown? Now, a lot of people ask me when they ask me about hometown, what does that mean? Well, it could mean where you're living right now, especially if that's where you lived all your life. But hometown could also mean where you grew up and where you lived most of your life. It doesn't matter for the examiner. The examiner doesn't actually know if your hometown is Ho Chi Minh City or another city in Vietnam. So you can go with either one, okay? All right, and Deepak, we definitely don't like spamming on our website. That makes it really annoying for me and other students as well. So please keep that in mind, okay? So students, just one time is enough for your answer. If I catch it, it's great. If I don't, try it again. Just because I don't read your response doesn't mean that it's not great that you're exercising, okay? So don't copy paste. That's obnoxious is the word in English. Okay. Suresh says, I like the nature Okay, so Suresh, let's take that for a second. It's a good example for everybody. Okay, so Suresh says, I like the nature. Okay, Suresh, first of all, that's not really considered a full sentence. It seems like it's a full sentence, but it's not really. It's like, if anything, it's the most basic sentence in English, subject, verb, object, right? And you can only get like a band 4 if you speak in this way. So you have to make compound and complex sentences for high band scores. Okay, I'm going to give you this as a tip. So you must use compound and complex sentences frequently during the interview to get high scores. Okay, and some of you are probably like, whoa, Adrian, what's up? What's going on there? What's a compound sentence? Okay, a compound sentence is when you join sentence elements. Okay, so compound sentence when you join. You compound. You take two sentences and you compound them together. Is when you join two phrases using coordinating conjunctions. And to remember your coordinating conjunctions, you can remember fan boys. That's kind of the acronym people use, meaning it's for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Okay? So all of those are your coordinating conjunctions, and they're used to create your compound sentences. So if we take the example by Suresh, we can say, I like the nature that surrounds Karnataka. I'm just guessing. I don't know where you live, Suresh, but I like the nature that surrounds Karnataka, especially, or and the delicious food in the restaurants. In restaurants. Okay, so that would be your compound sentence, all right, using and. Okay, so I like the nature that surrounds Karnataka and the delicious food in restaurants. All right, so that would be the start to a high band answer. All right, now complex sentences use subordinate conjunctions or subordinating conjunctions. It's a big family of conjunctions which include opposition, like however. They include condition, like if. They include opposition, or sorry, I already did that one. They include time, like when. And they also include its opposition, condition, time, and cause and effect. And that's probably the most common one, is the common cause and effect. It's because. Okay. So you need to speak with these conjunctions. These create your complex sentences. So Suresh can say, I like the nature that surrounds Karnataka and the delicious food in restaurants because I love going for hikes or to a restaurant with friends on the weekend. Now I've created a compound complex sentence, and this is what the examiner is looking for, that band 9. Okay, so I've got the and here for my compound sentence, and I've got the because here for my complex sentence. Okay, so I like the nature that surrounds Karnataka and the delicious food and restaurants because I love going for hikes or to a restaurant with friends on the weekend. Now, if we want to make that a certain band 9, last Saturday, we had delicious butter chicken at one of my favorite restaurants. We don't want to repeat restaurants, so at one of my favorite food venues. Okay, so that would be your band 9. Again, students, remember to repeat me here, all right? Yeah, Ian is saying it could be dining place. Yeah, at one of my favorite dining places. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And Tyinder, please use English in the chat. We want to make sure that we're using English, especially with IELTS. It's intermediate to advanced English levels usually. So you want to use English only in the chat. Doesn't make sense to speak in other languages. A lot of people from other parts of the world don't know what's going on if you do that. But if you're speaking English, everybody knows. Plus you're learning. So use English in the chat. Okay, so again, students, repeat. I like the nature that surrounds Karnataka and the delicious food and restaurants because I love going for hikes or to dine out with friends on the weekend. Just last Saturday, we had delicious butter chicken at one of my favorite food venues. Okay, and there, now we're not repeating restaurant at all. Okay. Angel, I do love butter chicken. Butter chicken is fantastic. I like curry. I like butter chicken. I like biryani. So I like Indian cuisine. Absolutely. I like Indian cuisine. I like Italian cuisine, Domenico. Yeah, I'm a foodie. So good food from around the world. Chinese cuisine. I like Vietnamese cuisine too. I like a good bowl of pho. So yeah. We're very fortunate here in Canada because Canada is very multicultural. So within walking distance from my home in Victoria, I can find 20 different cuisines from around the world, including Indian, Vietnamese, Japanese, and many, many more. So it's one of the incredible parts of Canadian culture is we're a mosaic. So we can find our own cultural foods, and we can find foods from many other cultures around the world, and they're authentic. They're literally run by people from that culture. So you get the authentic food. All right. So Canada, very fun place to be. All right. So then the examiner says, let's talk about languages. Okay. Let's do it. So first question, how many languages do you speak? We do have a Cheesecake Factory, Kennel. We have that too. Okay. So how many languages do you speak? Suresh, just saying Tamil language doesn't tell me a lot. Does that mean you only speak one language? If you're thinking about English as well, then you speak at least 2 languages, right? Okay. Deepak, let's take what you have there. I see that you've contained yourself to just one response, which is great. Okay, Deepak says, I usually speak Nepali language, but sometimes I like to speak Hindi language, and I use the English language while studying since I speak 3 languages. Okay. It's an all right answer, Deepak. It's not since, it's so would be the correct way to connect this. So I speak 3 languages. Nepali languages are capitalized. Hindi. Here, let's join this with the and. It does not need to be a new sentence. English is capital as well. And there. All right, so Deepak says, I usually speak Nepali. I think the language, if I'm not mistaken, Deepak, you can correct me, but I believe it's Nepalese, like that. I usually speak Nepalese, but sometimes I like to speak Hindi, and I use English while studying. In natural English, we wouldn't actually say language after each language. We know those are languages. So here is a more accurate answer, Deepak. I usually speak Nepalese, but sometimes I like to speak Hindi, and I use English while studying. So I speak 3 languages. Now, here's an important tip, students, and I'm going to integrate this into our responses here. Okay, this is another tip here. Let me actually put it up here. Tip, especially for the IELTS, because the IELTS examiner doesn't know you, okay? You want to give the answer first and then explanations and example. So the tip here is for your IELTS, give the answer first, okay? Then explanation, details, and examples, okay? Because if you don't do that, the examiner doesn't know if you understood the question or if you're going off topic and they're kind of confused and they're waiting. So Deepak, the better way to say this is I would say it like this. I speak 3 languages. Nepalese, so Deepak, I'm guessing Nepalese is the language that you grew up with. It's your first language. Students, what do we call in English? What is the collocation for your first language, for your original language? Make sure you're writing down vocabulary as I'm giving it to you. Use it, learn it, or pay attention to it. So I speak 3 languages. That's right, Kundan. That's right, Jason. That's right, Rakia. Alexander. It's your native tongue. Yes, I speak 3 languages. Nepalese is my native tongue. I also like to speak Hindi, as this is a common language around Nepal and India. And, or furthermore, I also use English for studying and international communication. Okay, so this is a big reason I am here doing this exam. Okay, that would be your band 9. So that's your clever band 9 answer. So answering it directly, giving good details. Now, of course, you have to be fluent, right? So repeat after me. I speak 3 languages. Nepalese is my native tongue, but I also like to speak Hindi, as this is a common language around Nepal and India. Furthermore, I use English for studying and international communication. So this is why I'm here in this exam. Okay. All right. Good for you, Shirin. I can see that you're using vocabulary right away. So Shirin says, actually, I speak my mother tongue, Bengali, but I also like to speak English. Shirin, so start with I speak 2 languages. Then say what is your mother tongue and that you speak English. Why do you speak English? Explain that. Okay. Ilham, very nice. Let me just quickly throw this up just so you can see another good response here. This is what Ilham says. Okay, so Ilham says, I am a trilingual person. Yeah, so I speak 3 languages, namely Russian, Uzbek, and English. I speak, you don't have to say 3 languages because you're repeating trilingual. Okay, your examiner knows what that means. You're getting a better vocabulary score for trilingual than saying 2 languages. So I speak Russian, Uzbek, and English. I use frequently Russian. I frequently use Russian, not the Russian language. We just say natural. Russian. However, Uzbek is my native tongue. Not native one, native tongue. Okay. All right, Ilham, it's a good start. You could add a little bit to it. That's the good use of the word trilingual. Okay. So yeah, I mean, vocabulary is important. You're getting scored on what's called lexical resource. So saying it this way is good. Okay. Students, if somebody speaks 2 languages, what do we call that? Yeah, so bilingual is when you speak 2 languages fluently. So Ilham, if you speak Russian and Uzbek fluently at the highest level, then you could say I'm bilingual and I speak English, which means I speak fluent, perfect Russian and Uzbek, and English is my 3rd language, right? So 2 languages fluently is bilingual. And if you don't speak it perfectly, then it would be duolingual. Okay. But we usually use bilingual. Okay, so I would stick to bilingual. Somebody's asking, what about 4? Kennel, good question. There is a word for that. 4 or more. So 4 or more languages. How do we call that? Yeah, very good, Hitesh. It's polylingual. That's right. Polylingual. And the person is called a polyglot. Okay, so I am polylingual. I am a polyglot. Now here you would have to explain how many, because you're not actually telling the numbers. So I am polylingual. Good for you. Who said that first? I think it was Hitesh. Yeah, very good, Hitesh. So I am polylingual. I speak 5 languages. Okay, so anything that's 4 or more. All right, and then you list them. Okay, one of our very good colleagues here in our company is a polyglot: Russian, Turkish, Hungarian, English, and a couple more. So there are some pretty amazing people out there, and it's also their context. They just grow up in a lot of places. Okay. Raman, I don't think there is a special expression for one language. We just say I only speak English, or I only speak something. Anybody know how many languages I speak? Want to take a guess? That's right, Alexander Eldar. He's a polyglot. Yeah. Ian says 10. Rakwi, a monolingual is okay, yeah, for 1, but we don't use it. We just say 1. All right, good guesses. Anahita guessed it right. I speak 3 languages. Yeah, I'm trilingual. So I am trilingual. I speak Hungarian, which is my heritage. I not only speak, but I also teach English, and I also speak conversational Japanese, which I learned in high school, college, and in Japan for around 9 years. Okay, so I'm trilingual, 3 very different languages: Hungarian, English, Japanese. So I know what it's like to be a student. I have had the experience, and I understand and can empathize with many of the challenges learning. Yanni, we don't have a language called Canadian. Canadians use English. Okay. No, I didn't learn French, Alexander. My daughter's learning French. I learned Japanese. On the west coast of Canada, Japanese and Mandarin or Cantonese are very useful. There's a lot of business and there's a lot of people who speak these languages on the west coast of Canada because we have the Pacific trade across the Pacific Ocean with China. So we have a large amount of money and business that comes from the East Asian seaboard, from Japan, China, Korea as well. Okay. All right. So good. We're on the track, and I think many of you are now picking up a lot of the tips and information. So for the remainder of the class, I want to give you a chance to practice with me. Okay. So again, just a reminder, students, that you can use this code BKFD on the website to save 30% off the price. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access, and you'll get 15 minutes of speaking with me included when we see that discount come through with your registered email. So we'll send you an email saying we see that you use this code, and we'll schedule the 15-minute speaking. Right now, you'll get a little taste of this by volunteering for speaking. So to volunteer to speak with me and practice these part 1 questions, your first step is going to aehelp.com. You can register a free or a paid account, up to you. And then you log into your My Student account. You're going to open up the Student Partner Speaking function. Make sure test your microphone and your speaker with maybe somebody else in the chat. Then find me. You will see me as Master, and then send me a message. Say, I want to volunteer. I'd like to try. Let me show you how this works. So here is the website. You can click these big red buttons to join the premium package. Or you can click the green button to create a free account and try this as well. This function is completely free. Then you go to your My Student account. In your My Student account, you will see lots and lots of assets. So interactive course, lesson videos, audio CDs, practice exams. What you're looking for is this one here, just above me there, the Student Partner Speaking. And if you see this red button that's behind me, then you can register for your at-home IELTS as well through the website. If you don't see it, it's because it's not available in your country. We're always updating this list, so check back, okay? All right, but let's go to Student Partner Speaking. Accept the terms. It means that you are going to speak politely and take responsibility for your answers. And then you're going to be in here, and lots of students in here. Masood, Veronica, Lola, Yanni, Kenjayeva, lots and lots of students. So you'll see me in here as Master, okay? It'll be all capital, I think. And then send me a message. I want to volunteer. I'd like to try. Or hi there. And I'll check to make sure you're there and everything's functioning. There's Lola. So let's start with Lola. We'll kind of start at the bottom of the list and then we'll begin there. So hi Lola, are you ready? Okay, and again, everybody, especially if it's your first time, check to make sure that your system is working. Some people realize they need to use a VPN. Some people realize that they need to adjust their microphone. All right, Lola confidently says, I think so. Let me put on my ears. Here we go. Okay, Lola. Hi Lola, how are you?
Thank you so much. How are you too?
I'm still healing from this terrible flu, but I'm doing better and better. Lola, can you speak up a bit or can you get a little bit closer to your mic? You sound a little bit distant.
Okay. Is it clear?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's a little bit quiet for me. Yeah, Akira in the chat says I can't hear her. So, and I've got you turned up like max volume. I've got you at 100 volume. So if you can get even closer, I mean, don't eat the microphone, but if you can get closer, that's great.
Okay.
And speak loud. That's the other trick, right? Is just increase your own volume. So speak loudly. It's good. It's good to practice, Lola, speaking loudly because it creates confidence. So it's a good trick. Okay, Lola, are you ready?
I think so because I'm a little bit nervous. I'm
All right.
shaking.
You don't need to shake. It's all good. I'm here to help you. So I'm your friend. All right, here we go, Lola. So welcome to the speaking section of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. May I see your identification?
Yes, sure. Here's my ID, which I use for registration to this exam.
What is your full name?
My first name is Lola, and my second name is Muhammadiwa. Please just call me by my first name.
Okay, Lola. For part one, I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better, and some questions on a general topic. Where do you live?
I live in Tashkent, which is the capital city of Uzbekistan, and on the 6th floor with my family.
What do you like about your hometown?
I like the city because it has the most modern and trendy boutiques, which I'm really into it.
Let's talk about languages. How many languages do you speak?
I speak three languages. Uzbek is my mother language, and I learned Russian at school and
Why is it important to speak a second language?
I think it's about global modernization, global trend. It's about it's the most nice to learn another language than the speaking in their native language in their whole life. It's there will be.
What are the most common languages in your country? Okay, don't answer that. I'm just showing you that the examiner interrupts you if you start getting stuck, especially later. They just interrupt you with the next question. It's because they're on a time limit. They have 12 minutes for each candidate, so they need to get to part 2, and then they need to get to part 3. So if they feel like the answers are taking too long and they might not be able to finish the interview, then they start to interrupt. So you have to be a little bit faster, but that's okay. So your overall band score would be approximately a 6. Because you're fluent for the most part. You get a little bit stuck, but for the most part, you're fluent. There are definitely a few mistakes with grammar or word choice, so lexical resource limitations. But overall, not bad. So fluent speaker so far. Okay, now of course I'd have to listen to your part 2 and your part 3 to get the final score. But so far, you're at about a band 6. Okay. All right, let me give you a little bit more feedback. So at the very beginning, I asked you, can I see your identification? And you said, yeah, sure. Here's my ID that I used for registration to this exam. Just a small mistake, but it would be for this exam, not to this exam. And for the first couple questions, like, may I see your identification? What's your full name? You want to avoid even a small mistake, like a preposition mistake of 2 or 4. So you need to use the correct preposition, and it should be 4. So that was the first hint for me that, okay, I'm not necessarily dealing with a band 9 student here. And don't take that personally. Band 9 is quite hard to get. Then I asked, where do you live? And then you said you live in Tashkent, which is the capital city of Uzbekistan. I heard that you live on the 6th floor, if I'm not mistaken. There was there was a little bit of problem with the audio there. It was cutting in and out. And unfortunately, with the computer-based version of the test, as I said before, that could be one of the limitations, is internet issues, hardware issues. So you have to, that's one of the reasons I suggest the face-to-face if you have the chance. Okay. So you said, I like it because it has the most modern and trendy boutiques. Can you repeat this word? Everybody can repeat, by the way, when I say repeat. So Lola, can you repeat this after me? Boutique.
Boutique.
Boutiques.
Boutiques.
Modern and trendy boutiques.
Modern and trendy boutiques.
Boutiques, obviously a word that's coming from French. So some French people would probably be like, that's not how you pronounce it. But in English, that's how we pronounce it. So I had to kind of do like a second, like, what was that word? And then I realized, okay, I think you're saying boutiques. So, you know, it's just a small pronunciation mistake, not a big one, but definitely you want to catch those kinds of words when you can. All right. Then I asked you about languages. How many languages do you speak? You told me about 3, Russian and Uzbek and English. That was good. That was a pretty good answer. That was a high-level answer. You gave me explanations as well. And then I asked you, why is it important to speak a second language? And you said, I think it's about global modernization. It's nice to speak. And I could tell that you were having a little bit of difficulty expressing yourself and also giving me an accurate answer. Now that you've had more time to think about this, why is it important to speak a second language? So keep your thoughts really simple, like in a really simple way. Why is it important to speak a second language?
As I said before, I think it's about global modernizations, and people need to, in these days, people need to speak another language as a global language is English. So
okay,
maybe it will be for work or for study abroad.
Good, right? Good. Okay, if you speak English, what can you do that you cannot do if you don't speak English?
I think I can do nothing. I can study to another language country.
I think you can still do a lot if you don't speak English, right? But it's definitely limiting. So in the IELTS, Lola, and this is for everybody, here's a very good tip, okay? Think about your examiner as a clever alien from another planet like Mars, okay? Tip. Think of the examiner as a clever alien. They have great logic, but don't know what you know. Okay, I'll explain that a little bit clearer with this question here in just a moment. Okay, so you said, I think it's about global modernization. That's kind of awkward. It's just one word here, Lola. It's globalization. Okay, so I think it's about globalization. Can you say that? I think it's about globalization.
Yeah.
Just repeat me, Lola. I think it's about globalization.
I think it's about globalization.
A second language, especially English, creates many more opportunities for work and study. People can communicate with hundreds of millions of individuals around the world. Okay, so that's what I mean by, you know, everybody knows this, but the examiner wants you to tell them this information. Okay, so here is a better answer. Okay, just repeat this after me, Lola. I think it's about globalization. A second language, especially English, creates many more opportunities for work and study. People can communicate with hundreds of millions of individuals around the world.
I think it's about globalization. A second language, especially English, creates many more opportunities for work and study. People can communicate with hundreds of millions of individuals around the world.
I'm learning English to study in the US.
I'm learning English to study in the US.
Okay, so that would be the example to put that cherry on top and to to really put that into a picture. Now, here's a question, and this question's not just for Lola, it's for everybody. What's an idiom in English to say more opportunities? There's an idiom that we can use here. It's kind of an interesting one. It's a popular, common idiom, and it starts with opens. You might know it, Lola. If not, maybe somebody...
Opens the door, maybe.
Yeah, you're very close. Yeah, opens a lot of doors. Exactly. See, Lola? All that beautiful language that's inside your head just waiting to come out. So always assess yourself and check where you can, make your response even better. Okay?
Yeah.
So
I think it's why I'm stuck in this because of my nerves. I just get nervous and just forget everything in my head. So
But that's changing. Every time you volunteer, every time you practice, you talk with me or you talk with others, that changes, okay? So confidence comes from use and practice, Lola. So keep it up, and I'm sure you'll do fantastic, okay? Thank you so much for being my first volunteer today.
thank you, you too,
Okay.
for feedback.
You're very welcome. Bye for now, Lola. Let's give Lola a thumbs up. She was really, she pushed past her nerves and her nervousness and came up with a good answer. Alfred, opens many doors. Yes. Sajid, not open the door. It has to be opens a lot of doors or opens many doors. Okay. All right, good. Thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. Let's take somebody else. Let's target... let's see if we can see somebody that we haven't heard from yet at all. At all. All right. Let's jump to the top-ish here. Let's see if Mahmoud is good to go. Are you ready? Okay. And I'm paying attention to everybody, so I'll take a few more volunteers here. Let's try Mahmoud. I don't think we've spoken to Mahmoud so far. So again, students, check those microphones and so on. Okay, Mahmoud, you're good to go. Oh, Fennel, welcome to our group of members. Mahmoud, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Mahmoud, how are you?
Thank you. I am enjoying tea while watching your lesson.
I'm also having tea.
How about you?
I'm doing all right, for sure. Thank you. And I'm also enjoying my tea while I'm teaching. So I've got, my tea is passion fruit mango with honey and lemon. What kind of tea are you drinking, Mahmoud?
I am drinking the green tea.
Ah, okay. Green tea. That's good. Where is it from? Is it Chinese, Japanese, or from somewhere else?
I don't know where it is.
As long as it's good, right? Mahmoud, why
Yes.
are you taking the IELTS exam?
I am taking the IELTS exam for my PhD application. I am gonna to use it for this reason.
Okay.
But I am a master student in the university.
What is your specialization?
My specialization related to machine learning and artificial intelligence, especially for computer science.
There are a lot of people pursuing artificial intelligence right now. So I have a feeling we're going to have AI robots walking around very soon, just with all the brilliant brains like yourself that are focusing on this science of artificial intelligence. Okay, that's fantastic. I'm going to ask you some questions now. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, here we go. So why is it important to speak a second language?
I think it is important to learn and speak a second language, not only for the education but also for to communicate with others. Like myself, I am learning and using English for my researches. That there are many scientific papers who are written in the English, and many people publish their papers in journals like Elsevier.
What are the most common languages in your country?
The most common language in the country that I am live currently is Turkish, Kurdish, and Arabic. Especially for I am speaking for Turkey.
Where do you hear people speak in another language most often?
Most often, frequently, I hear people speak English, especially for educational purposes. And in the streets, people speak Turkish because it is their the native language.
When have you needed to speak in another language?
As I mentioned, I currently live in Turkey, but I am in origin I am from Syria, so I forced to learn Turkish. That I left my country due to the hard situation there. Then I needed to speak Turkish because it is the native language for Turkey.
If you could choose one more language to learn, what would it be?
I think it would be the Chinese, because there are many Chinese who are living in the earth. The Chinese population is big, and China is growing. China's economic is growing every day. It would be better to learn such a language for such a country.
That is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. Okay, that was good. That was great. So overall, your band score is 7, maybe a 6.5, 7. So I depending on how you would do in part 2 and part 3, I might score you a 6.5 or a 7. But you're definitely on the right track. So I could tell that you have good fluency, you have fairly good vocabulary. Your grammar is quite accurate, so you do not make a lot of grammar mistakes. Your coherence is quite good, so I can clearly understand your answers, and you have good content, so your answers are very accurate for the question that I'm asking you. I'll show you a couple of ways that you can improve. Okay, so I asked you, first of all, why is it important to speak a second language? And I really liked how you used a correlative conjunction. So you said not only, but also. So that's a good strategy. Okay, a lot of people avoid correlative conjunctions. For everybody who's watching, correlative conjunctions are the paired conjunctions, like both and, not only but also, whether or, neither nor. And you did a good job here saying not only for education, but also to communicate with others. Like me, I'm using it in my studies. A lot of research papers are written in English. The one issue that happened here is you were talking a bit too much about the example. You want to keep your examples short and quick and then just stop, okay? If you keep going with the example, for sure they will interrupt you, okay? If it sounds like this long story, then the examiner will interrupt you, just like I did. And you don't need that much detail. So just saying, like me, I'm using English for research papers during my studies. Can you just repeat that after me? So like me, I'm using English to read research papers during my studies.
Like me, I am using English to read research papers during my studies.
Okay, and that's it. And then the examiner's like, oh, okay, they don't have time to interrupt you because you just get out the example, they hear it, it's great, check, good detail, next question, okay? All right, and then I asked you, what are the most common languages in your country? And you said the most common language in the country that I live in is Turkish, Kurdish, Arabic, and I think you listed one other one. And I was trying to figure out, where do you live, okay? Because those languages are spoken in a couple of countries that surround Turkey as well. Just as I mentioned near the start of the class, you always want to start with the answer, okay? So instead of saying the most common languages in the country that I live, the most common languages in Turkey, Okay, and then I know right away that, okay, you're speaking about Turkey and the languages there. So in Turkey, where I currently live is, and then you get into Turkish and Kurdish and so on. Okay, does that make sense?
Okay, yes.
Okay, so always answer the question directly, and then the examiner knows that you understood the question clearly and you're going into a direct answer. In everyday conversation, we often do it the way that you did it, so we reverse it with the explanation or even with the example sometimes, but that doesn't work on the IELTS because IELTS has a time limit and it's question after question, so you really have to follow this answer, explanation, example strategy. Okay? All right.
Okay.
And then as we discovered, you're currently living in Turkey, but originally you're from Syria, and so you needed to learn to speak Turkish. Now, it was a pretty good response, but something is missing from your answer. Something very important is missing from your answer. Anybody know what that is? So maybe in the chat, somebody can answer this as well. So this answer started with, as I mentioned. That was a really good way to start. You're making a connection. As I mentioned, I am currently living in Turkey, but originally I'm from Syria. So something is really missing here. What's missing? Do you know what's missing? Mahmoud?
Is it the time that I came to Turkey?
No. I'll give you a hint. It's not the content that's missing. It's something from the grammar that's missing. What's the grammar of the question?
Past. Simple. Perfect.
Yeah, now you're getting it. Yeah.
Perfect. Yes.
It's the present perfect, right? When have you needed to speak, right? Because it's expectation. The question is emphasizing expectation. In the IELTS, it's very, very important that you reflect grammar of the question. Okay, that's what they're looking for when they mark you for the grammar range. So you said, as I mentioned. Even here, you can say, as I have mentioned. So you can right away create that present perfect. I have been living in Turkey, but originally I'm from Syria. So I have needed to speak Turkish for the past 3 years.
Yeah, I have missed this grammar reflection.
Yeah, exactly. So at this point, the examiner will make a mark like grammar not used or grammar not reflected of the present perfect, right? And same thing with the next one. It's conditional, if you could choose. So start with the full condition. So given the chance to learn one more language, I think it would be Chinese. Now, technically, there's no such language as Chinese. It's just like there's no such language as Canadian or Mexican, right? People in Mexico speak Spanish, people in Canada speak English, and people in China don't actually speak Chinese. There's an expression, they say simplified Chinese, but technically it doesn't really exist as a language. What are the Chinese languages? What's the biggest language in China?
Mandarin.
Yeah.
Mandarin language. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Mandarin, what's the second biggest?
I don't know.
Cantonese. Okay, it's Cantonese. That's what they speak, for example, in Hong Kong, right? So Mandarin is the biggest. Mandarin is the one that most people speak in China. Even people who speak Cantonese will often speak Mandarin as well. So, it's just a small detail. But again, if you're going for band 9, if I'm your examiner, I will catch that. That's why you don't want me to be your examiner. I catch even the smallest mistakes. So sometimes students are like, oh, I want you to be my examiner. No, you don't. So I'm very picky when it comes to a band 9. Okay, so those are the big tips. Okay, so reflect the grammar. Answer directly, keep practicing that, and you'll move from a band 6.5/7 to a 7.5, maybe even an 8 very quickly, okay?
Okay.
All right, Mahmoud, thank you. This was your first time volunteering. Great job. Thank you
Yes.
so much. That was
Thank you for
awesome.
your feedback.
You're very welcome. Have a great rest of your day in Turkey.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thanks. And we'll continue to enjoy that tea together, right? Some thumbs up by Chen. That is fantastic. All right. Let's give Kenjayeva a chance here. I think she was actually the very first one to volunteer here. There we go. This is my favorite topic. Okay, Kenjayeva, are you ready? Okay. Thank you for the encouragement, members, and everybody who's watching. Encourage each other, okay? Kenjayeva.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Kenjayeva. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
I'm on the mend, but I'm doing okay. I'm happy to, talk to people that are doing fine these days. It's like half the world population seems to be under the weather. But Kenjayeva, that's good to hear that you're fit and strong. What's your trick to staying healthy?
Well, nothing much. I just used to practice every day when I get up. So I think that's why I'm healthy.
You mean like you're doing daily exercise when you get up?
Yeah,
What do you do?
like yoga.
Yoga. Okay. I do yoga too. Unfortunately, it didn't work for me, but I'm probably not as young as you. So, no, but Kenjayeva, you're absolutely right. So, doing exercise, moving the body, moving the blood, stimulating the immune system, that's a great way to stay healthy. Okay, Kenjayeva, let's do this. You said this is your favorite topic, so we'll get right into it. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right, here we go. Let's talk about languages. How many languages do you speak?
Well, actually, I'm trilingual, and despite my native tongue, I can speak in Russian and English. And I think that's because English becoming more popular, and it will give more opportunities. So that's why it was kind of easy for me to learn it.
Why is it important to speak a second language?
I think like when we will meet a person who can speak several languages frequently, first of all, it means they are intelligent and that they want to learn new things. Also, it might help people to gain confidence and speak frequently, like if they want to travel around the world or study abroad.
What are the most common languages in your country?
Well, in my country, Uzbekistan, I think these are Russian and English. In our society, a lot of people used to know and speak in Russian and English. That's because it's a modern language, and just knowing only this language, you can not only work but study wherever you want.
Where do you hear people speak in another language most often?
Actually, it is in my study center. It's the study center that teaches lots of languages like English, Turkish, Japanese, and so I often hear people talk to each other in this foreign language, and it's really interesting. Just like
When have you needed to speak in another language?
about 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, I met a tourist when I was passing by my near school, and he asked a location where is nearby. He can find a nearby supermarket, and so I had needed to speak in English in order to explain where the place is.
If
And
you
he
could
was
choose
really
one more
grateful.
language to learn, what would it be?
Oh, I think not. I think I'm certainly that it's gonna be Japanese since I'm a big fan of anime. So it would be really great if I could understand their language, also speak, and also while I'm watching anime, I won't be. I mean, I want to watch it in English or Russian, and I can hear my favorite character's voice in their language. It would be perfect.
That is the end of part one. Okay, that was really good. Kenjeva, that would be about a 7.5, 7.75 for sure. It's getting higher and higher. Good, and your English is getting better. Couple of important points for feedback. I can tell by the way that you are really paying attention in the class, and you are really paying attention to the feedback that I gave to other students, which is excellent. Keep in mind that going up from a 7.75 to an 8.85, you really just have to focus on reducing mistakes, sounding even more natural, and including even more vocabulary or accurate vocabulary. And content. So just content. Content is in a big way is what you need to focus on for band 7.5 to 9, because it's just 1.5 band difference between that level and the top score, right? So it's just polishing and cleaning up the language and making it even better, the content. But you're doing great. You had really good content for the most part. Just a couple of off words. Okay, let me give you some specific feedback. So here, when I asked you, why is it important to speak a second language, you said, I think when you remember from past classes that you is not a good word to use because now you're speaking to me, the examiner, directly, right? And so you corrected. You said when we meet a person that can speak language fluently, they are intelligent, and they like to learn new things. Okay, instead of new things, so I always tell students to avoid this word things. What could you have said, Kenjayeva, that would be better than the word things?
Informations, maybe.
New information? Okay, sure. I think that's an okay choice. Any choice, by the way, is just about any choice is better than the word things. So information is better than things. Knowledge is better than things as well. Specifically, when you are thinking about languages, so somebody speaking another language, what is it that they particularly like to learn? And you can think about your own situation, what you said about Japanese and anime. So what do they like to learn?
Because they are fan of this language and want to know the culture of another country.
Exactly. That's it. Now you've got it. You've hit the nail on the head. So, and they like to learn about other cultures and people. Sure. Absolutely. So that's what I mean by, you really have to think fast, think on your toes, avoid the things, and choose the most precise, because band 9 is what's called an expert communicator, not just user of English, but an expert communicator. Okay, so those are the small details that push you into the highest band scores. Okay. You did a good job of answering the next question. So in Uzbekistan, Uzbek and Russian are the most popular languages. You controlled your answers very well. So you knew that, you don't overspeak, because then you get interrupted. And I think there was just one part where I interrupted you, and then you realized, okay, that was maybe a bit too much, and you just focused on the next answer. So that was really good. When have you needed to speak in another language? Okay, remember again the present perfect, right? You said, about 2 weeks ago, I think, I met a new student as they were passing by. I liked how you used the past perfect. You said, I had needed to speak, so that was good that you got a past perfect in there. Try to also get a present perfect in, okay? So practice that. And then the last one, if you could choose one more language, and you said, I am certain it would be Japanese, include the condition, okay? So provided I have an opportunity to learn one more language, I am certain it would be Japanese, because I am into Japanese anime. Anime is actually being done by a lot of other nationalities, especially in a lot of Spanish cultures. Animes have become so popular that there's actual Spanish animes now too. So if you're really into the Japanese ones, you should say Japanese anime. Okay. What's your favorite anime?
My favorite, My Hero Academia, or basketball, or volleyball. I don't know. There are a lot of
Okay,
my favorite
good. All right, good. Yeah. So I like anime as well. I've watched.
Really?
Yeah, I've watched. I think all. Well, I speak Japanese, as I mentioned, so I do understand what they're saying.
Yeah,
And
I was really happy when you said it's Japanese.
yeah, so I've watched almost 600 episodes of Naruto, Naruto Shippuden. I've seen them all. I even have like little figurines of Doraemon and all kinds of anime. So yeah, I'm
Oh,
into it. So it's
which
lots
is
of
your
fun.
favorite one?
What's that, Kenji? Have it one more time.
Which is your favorite anime?
If I, it's a tough one, but I would say if I had to choose one, I would say Naruto. I think that it was so well developed. Like the characters were almost brought to life through those 600
Yeah.
episodes. It's like you can actually know them as if they're real living human beings. So I thought that was really cool. But I have a few different ones that I think are quite amazing. I think as a movie anime, the cult classic Akira is quite amazing. So those are good ones. Okay, anyway, back to Target here. I've gone off, talked about tea to Mahmoud. I'm talking anime to you, Kenji. However, those are fun topics for another time. Kenji, thank you so much for volunteering. Pay attention to those tips and keep practicing, okay?
Yeah, thank you for feedback.
You're very, very welcome. Have a great day and enjoy an anime when you have the chance.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right. So, yeah, Marco, big fan of Dragon Ball Z as well. Dragon Ball Z. Absolutely. Chen says, mine as well. Naruto. Yes. All right, students. So, how are we doing? We're out of time. Oh, no. That's okay. We've got more classes coming up for you tomorrow and on Saturday. And very important message before you all decide to leave me. Remember, if you like the speaking and you want to get a 15-minute speaking interview with me, you have the chance right now with our Black Friday discount. So we're doing, it's like the best discount of the year is this time, but it's very limited because of course I can't teach 515-minute speaking sessions, so we are only doing this for 3 days, okay? It's a 30% Black Friday discount. You use the discount BKFD on the websites, and not only do you get 30% off, but you get a 15-minute speaking interview with me where I ask you basically every question, part 1, 2, and 3, and then give you a band score and give you some quick advice on how you can improve, okay? So you can do that when you sign up for the premium package on our websites, aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. I'll show you where real quick. So this is the website here, and your home page will look like this. And then you click this big red button, okay? And then when you click that big red button, then you click the use coupon code and then BKFD, okay? Valid for the next 3 days. So you hit that, and then we'll match your email with your discount code, and then we'll send you an email about the 15-minute interview, okay? For general IELTS students, it's here. It's the green background. Click that big red button there. That's it for me for right now, but I will be back tomorrow to teach you some more IELTS, and tomorrow's lesson will be task 2 writing for our members and reading for our subscribers. So be sure to subscribe, hit that bell button, and then we'll get into it. That's it for now, but I hope that you join me tomorrow. Make sure to subscribe for those classes, okay? You're very welcome, Raquia. I know you were volunteering. I'll keep that in mind. Eldho, the same. Okay, for those of you who are feeling a bit under the weather, Domenico and Jao, I hope you get better. Okay, everybody, see you tomorrow. I'm Adrian, and I'm signing out from Victoria for now. Much love to all of you, wherever you are. Bye.